This is my 2014 fourth generation Acura TL. Looking at installing the GROM VLine2 in it and taking this video and hoping it will be of some help to others. Using a little pry tool to pop out the vents. Alright, I just disconnected that clip off of the back of this, and you can now see the clips. There's a red under the center, red on the side, and then these two top. And the three reds that were on the bottom side and edges weren't so hard, but it was difficult to pop those back two white ones out, and just had to gently apply enough pressure evenly. Next is to remove this trim piece and this. Some have suggested trying to go in through here, but I learned from another guy's video who suggested going through this, raising this up, and that it's the easiest, and so I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to get this pry tool here right on the center. Oops. I'm going to lift that there, and then I'm going to get a second tool to lift up from the center. And once I've got some play here, it's going to be a whole lot easier now. A whole lot easier to get my fingers in here and to pop this out. And so far I've got this much done. This guy's giving me just a little bit of trouble, and I'm just working on it gently so I don't break anything. There we go. Just pulled it off and then disconnected the starter button here. Time to do the other side. Okay, I just finished pulling out this last removal tool, rather trim piece, and as another video had suggested, you want to start from this side and work your way up, but the easiest way to probably do that, rather than jamming the pry tool in here and risk scratching it, is to lift this piece up just a little bit to loosen up these corners. Then it came out really easy. There are 4 8mm screws that hold the radio in. One here, I took that one off already. It requires a socket that preferably comes out in past your radio to make it easier. So there's one. There's 2, and then up here there's 3 and 4. Those need to come out for the radio to slide out. That's next. So I decided the easiest way to get at this was through a screwdriver with a long socket. And for the one up here, because it's so far in, I'm a little bit nervous about dropping the screw, so I decided to use a magnetic tipped screwdriver to remove that one. So next, now that I have those screws loose, I am going to gently pull the system out, the radio. Alright, so I've pulled this away, but it still tugs because there's a cable right here that's tied in. There's another one on this side, if we can see it. There, where are you? Oh, there it is, right here. Right, and so I need to release that clip here to make it easier to pull the radio out. Okay, it took me a minute to get this out. So it looked like there was a little pin, like a little lever here to pop that out, but that's not what that is. Need to get underneath the rounder disc, right underneath there, and that's what we're going to pry around and out to pop that out. I'll show the location on the other side. So I'm going to get my pry tool here And I'm going to get underneath. There we go. I'm going to get underneath that and work my way around it to pop that whole piece out. And there it is, just finally out. A lot of videos have then recommended putting down a microfiber cloth of some sort here just to protect the rest of this console area from scratches as you pull this out to disconnect the radio. So I'm going to disconnect this first guy here. There's a clip that I'm pushing forward with my finger right there. Push forward. See if I can clear that up a little bit. There we go. There's a clip right here that I'm going to push forward to disconnect. And there's a similar clip right here that I'm going to press forward and pull out to remove. Farther back, you can see that there's a clip here at the bottom. There's a clip here at the top. We're going to remove those next. So I've been in the process of disconnecting my cables, but I'm stopping for a moment to highlight how they come apart. It's not the easiest. Almost all of them have little tabs, push tabs, like this guy. Let's see, where is he? This guy pushes in, but some of them are on the bottom, some are on the top, some are on the side, which is difficult. And then there's one that's totally different, and that's this guy. And inside, this is a lever that swings out, but to swing out, there's a little push tab inside that needs to be pushed, and I was pulling upwards toward me, and that's not what it needed. It needs to be pushed downwards for that lever to swing out. Trying to get a better shot of this here, but I've gotten it started, and now I'm going to rotate this all the way out, and that pops out the big plug here. I've got one more to do. It's this bottom one, and there is a tiny little tab underneath that pushes up. And now that that big last guy is out, the last thing to do is to pop this this clip out to release it. All right, so here's the glove box, and this is where we are going to start prepping the wire feeding through. There is a shelf here that just pulls straight out with just a little bit of force, and then the cabin air filter drawer pulls out. I'll show you both of those. I've already loosened this, but this pulls out, and that's what it looks like. Now the next thing to do is to take the V-line cable. In this case, this is the one labeled, which one is this? The MCF-HA3 cable, and to feed it through this center and through the back of the glove box. Now, one way to do that, and several videos will talk about this, is to fish a line and tape it up, and so that you can pull. For example, I put just some basic speaker wire, threaded it through here, stuck my finger through this hole, just searched around a little bit, found it, pulled it through. And you can do that. You can attach the V-line cable to that. I didn't. I just, again, found a hole back here in the corner, send it through, stuck my fingers through, and started fiddling for it. So you can do it either way. All right, so here it is with both of the GROM cables pulled through. You'll notice that I was able to put in the cabin air filter back in here. Now, the only thing that I can't do as is to replace the factory shelf in the same spot without pinching the wires. So the two options are to cut out a little notch in this casing here, or to cut out a little notch in the shelf itself. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I'll think about it later. Next is to start working on the reverse wire. So here's the purple reverse wire coming out of the V-line cables, and going to take my wire strippers here and get some lead on the wire, stripping off some of the casing. All right, I have some lead on that, and I can work now to put the P-tap on. So a slight update to the videos I already have taken. From GROM, I mistakenly ordered the version for the later Acura model than the one I had. I ordered an HON3 LV3, and I needed to get the HON2. So all of the video work that I've already done is basically the same, but you may notice that the cabling that I have now looks slightly different than the cabling in the earlier video. So I had to return the unit I had and get the exchange it for the HON2. GROM was really helpful with that, and so now I have snaked their cabling back into the glove compartment like I had before, and I am just now ready to attach the reverse wire. I have already done the original tap on their purple wire. I don't think I got that on video, but there are quite a number of videos out there on that, and am about to put it on the reverse wire on the Acura. Now, there was a long delay in my installation, and that is because the installation instructions that I received from GROM for the reverse wire tap did not match my plugs. Their instructions said to look for a 28-pin connector, and that didn't line up with what I had. So I contacted their tech support, and they told me indeed I needed to find a 16-pin connector with a brown wire in pin number 10, which wasn't so hard, but I still found it just a little bit tricky because there are 3 16-pin connectors, and they all have their numbers. Rather than starting with pin number 1 at the top left, like their instructions say, all of the pin numbers are numbered with number 1 starting at the top right. And so I'm going to show you this on the connector, and which is the connection for the reverse wire. So here is the 16 pin connector. It's kind of attached to this group of wires here. I'm going to turn it around, and what you hopefully can see is here at the top right of the pins, it says number 1. And then number 8 is all the way numbered over there, top left, 9 bottom right, and 16 bottom left. And so he told me the tech support told me to find the brown wire in pin number 10, and 10 is down here, and there's a brown wire in number 9. And then, so to make this story short, GROM told me that actually the numbers on the plug are wrong, to ignore the plug numbering. So 1 actually is here at the top left, and counting that way with 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then we go back to the bottom left, 9, there's the brown wire in what they have called pin 10, even though that's not what the actual plug says. But that brown wire is the wire into which I am going to tap the purple reverse wire. And there is the tap into the brown reverse wire. All right, so it's about time to actually install the V-line here. In an earlier video, I showed snaking my cables through here, and I really did it manually. I just stuck my finger up through this You can see here, just kind of fed it through the other side, and a little bit of trial and error, and it went through. So I'm going to plug these connectors in here and then work on our mounting. Now, I've reinstalled the cabin air filter here, and you will see that those cables come through that side corner pretty easily. But there are two issues as we're installing this here. One is this shelf doesn't really accommodate these cables. You'll see there's a little slide here and this little slide guide there that the shelf rides on, and it's a pretty snug fit at the top of this. And so either I need to use a Dremel tool to cut out a little bit of this to make that work, or I just need to squeeze it. The top of the glove box has a little bit of play in it, and so I'm going to squeeze it here for now and then demonstrate the next issue that has to be dealt with. Okay, so now you see the shelf. I've reinstalled it. It's you know, just resting in there on those things, and you'll see the cables that are just folded in at the top, just pressed in. Now, VLine GROM suggests installing it obviously this way. Those cables are going to apply there, so you have access to those plugs, and using some Velcro tape or some mounting brackets. What you will immediately see here in this car is that this glove compartment is not large enough to accommodate the GROM unit here at the bottom of the glove box. All right, which means that it's got to go on top for it to fit, and it will. I just closed it. It will fit there, but there needs to be access to get the cabin air filter out, right? And so to get the cabin air filter out, you have to remove this shelf, which means that permanently installing this first off is not really gonna work because it can't be permanently installed on that side. So with that in mind, what I am probably going to do is finish installing the plugs and not mount it. It is going to be pretty snug in here, but I'm going to secure it just by kind of padding around it rather than using any sort of brackets or something that would be permanent. We'll probably end up using that Velcro tape that they suggest. All right, this video has been done in so many different stages, and it's dark right now, but here's the microphone. I was able, you don't have to install the microphone. For Android Audio, if you want to use Google Assist, you need it. I decided to install it anyway, and so I want to attach it right here on the extension here for the rearview mirror. And so how I did this, I just threaded you kind of stuffed the wire in here. I used a little pry tool, plastic one, to help me out a little bit, but didn't need much help. So went all the way up over here, and then right at this corner, and I could even pull it out with my finger a little bit, just pulling this down a little bit. Right at this corner, I used a little pry tool to pry this out and ran it in here. Little pry tool to pull up the rubber stripping, ran it all the way down to here, and then I popped out this panel. There's just some clips here. This wasn't hard to do. Pulled from this side out, popped this one out, and it came off. And then I ran it through and into the glove box, and so just kind of stuck my finger down in here, wiggling it, trying to find it, grabbed it, and pulled it through. So I'm going to attach this microphone cable now to the front of the VLine. For the GPS signal, I'm going to probably I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to mount it, but I'm going to mount it somewhere inside the dash where I can't see it. And I already ran its cable through the same hole that I sent the other cables through, popping out from behind there, and have already plugged that into the V-line. All right, it's about time to connect the stereo back. The port that we are looking at immediately connecting into is this guy. For the this is where the video cable, the VHA16V cable, is going to go into, and then the MCFH ADD cable, the interface cable that has 2 plugs. It's the one that, let's see if I can find it again here. That's this guy that's got greens and whites. That's going to end up in this one that has kind of the S figure cable, and then the green one is going to go in here. I've decided that the easier way to go about this, rather than connect it first and into that, is I'm going to connect in here actually first. And so I needed to find the appropriate cables. So right next to the P-tap, I don't think you can see it really well because of the lighting, but right next to the P-tap is the first one that I attached into, and then here is my S-shaped cable, and then here is my green. So I'm going to plug the GROM supplied plugs in first to those, and then plug them in here, and then work at replugging everything back in. Now they suggest that you turn the car on, you do the set of operations first before you put the whole dash back in. So I'm going to do that.